Savage Dragon 112 from October of 2003. Shark Attack. Fan favorite Mako is back, returning to his villainous ways, simultaneously choking and drowning the dragon on the cover here, as Dart watches in terror. Let's get into this one. First, our credits. Erik Larsen is the responsible party, along with colorist Bill Crabtree and letterer John Workman, guilty by association, and of course Josh Eckhorn, who finds it necessary to alert everyone on the street that he's been to San Diego via a colorful and stylish t-shirt. Up from the Depths is the title of our story. Dragon busting through this doorway, about to be ambushed by the Rumble Brothers, more popularly known as Raging Woody and Furious George. Larsen admits to accidentally swiping this intro idea from a Jack Kirby story featured in Tales of Suspense number 95, A Time to Live, A Time to Die. Almost identical composition there. And it doesn't end there. The next page shows Dragon ducking this blast from these Uzis, and the bad guys, they catch each other in the crossfire, while Dragon adds insult to injury, punching them in the nuts. So this page also follows the same layout as that Captain America story. Very similar resolution, including double header, popping out of the doorway and eating a square fist to the face. And I do mean a square fist, man. That is a 90-degree angle on those knuckles right there. It's like getting punched by a cinder block. So Larsen says that this was an accidental, unintentional homage. I guess that Kirby artwork really made an impression on young Erik and sat in his subconscious for decades. So after Dragon dispatches these villains, Frank Darling thanks him for his service. Dragon no longer works for the Chicago PD, but he lends a helping hand when needed, especially now that the Vicious Circle gang has started to reappear after a jailbreak. So they continue their chat, and it's been a while since we've seen Frank in these pages, so it's nice to catch up with Dragon's oldest friend. They talk about his best-selling autobiography and a book tour that he's about to go on, which brings us to his appearance on a TV show hosted by Harry Paratestes, a perfect name for this prick. He decides it would be fun to catch up with some of Dragon's other friends in the twisted Where Are They Now segment. For example, Sharona Jackson, a.k.a. Rapture. In this reality, she's a heavy-set hobo, muttering to herself, rummaging through trash cans, missing teeth, flipping off the camera. Not very flattering. And before we see the next blast from the past, note this crowd shot of the audience here. That's actually a high-contrast copy of a real photo that Larsen doodled on. So, whatever works. Next is Barbaric and Ricochet. They do a children's television show, Barney's Funtime Playhouse. It seems like Harry Paratestes here is trying to embarrass the Dragon by showing what a bunch of losers his old teammates are. Like Super Patriot down here getting married by an Elvis impersonator, or a Mighty Man getting knocked out, getting his ass kicked over there from a story in the backup we saw last issue. Anyway, Dragon rolls with the punches, doesn't get too upset with the host. But yeah, take a look at that guy's face, man. It's just the same expression every time he shows up. So it's kind of a funny idea. Larsen probably drew that once and just copied it over for every other panel. After the TV show, Dragon is back at the... Well, did I skip a page? Yeah. Dragon is back home with the family. His wife Jennifer explains that she's worried about Rex Dexter. So last we left off, issue 111, Rex Dexter returned from his trip to Dimension X as a new man, or whatever the hell he is here. He turned into this kind of red demonic-looking freak, and his mutation or transformation or whatever, it has her worried because it's changing his personality as well. So they go down to the basement to kind of talk to the guy, but he's more concerned about rebuilding the portal to Dimension X that was destroyed a couple issues back. Anyway, they're interrupted by a visitor, Sarah, or Horridus. She drops by to tell Dragon that Dart has been kidnapped by her old boyfriend, Mako the Shark Man. So after some discussion, Dragon leaves to go rescue her. So Dart and Mako used to be hot and heavy, living on a deserted island happily together while the world went to hell. But once the world was saved by Dragon and they left the island, The honeymoon was over. Dart left Mako, and he's not taking it very well. A couple of nice full-page images of this former couple. Mako on this one and Dart on this one. So Mako believes that he can rekindle their old flame by returning to the tropical island, but it's not going very well. He says he'll keep her as a prisoner in a cage and that he's not going to beg. That's all the dragon needs to hear. He throws open the door to the hut. Dart's happy to see her old friend, but Mako will not let her leave without a fight. Mako chomps down on Dragon's head, and Horridus gets involved into the fray. Mako taking a couple of brutal hits from the dragon, sending him crashing through the forest here. Dart approaches the shark man Mako and snaps a twig, which Mako reacts to by punching her head so hard it explodes in a bouquet of blood, brains, eyeballs, and skull fragments. A shocking death to a beloved character accidentally murdered by her ex-boyfriend. Mako thought he was attacking Dragon, not Dart, so he's crashing out. He's killed the only woman that ever loved him, and he blames the dragon for her death. He escapes into the ocean after saying that he'll never forgive Dragon for what he's done. This crazy asshole. Violent and shocking conclusion to this story. So, moving on to the Mighty Man backup by Mark Englert, Chapter 4, Give and Take. We see Phyllis here, and Steven's old roommate. We haven't seen her in about 40 issues, but she's one of the few people that knows Mighty Man's secret identity. And she's giving her some advice here because Anne's boyfriend Larry does not know this secret. Anyway, later at dinner, Larry proposes, but before she can answer, there is an explosion, which Mighty Man has to go investigate, like a bank robbery or something by this robot Splitsborg. Anyway, the bad guy is defeated by Mighty Man, who changes back into Nurse Ann Stevens. But that dirty SOB, Billy Berman, he has a device that can steal her power. And that's exactly what he does. He uses this old ray gun that he got from Dr. Nirvana to rob her of her power. And now he is Mighty Man. This backup story has some pretty interesting twists going on, so it's definitely picking up. We got G-Man Adventures here by Chris G. Russo. G-Man and his friends get into some video game hijinks, which just leaves Fanatics. Up here, Larson comes clean about the opening sequence we talked about. I never would have known, so I'm glad he mentions it here. I think it's cool, though. Nothing else too noteworthy. Mostly reaction to issue 110. Mr. Glum pops up in almost every letter here. He's becoming a real fan favorite. Everybody loves him, and Angel's kind of comedic antics. We'll see how long that lasts, but that's it for this one. We're left with a pinup by Ethan Beavers, colored by Eric Larson. I like this one a lot. Kind of reminds me of Bruce Timm or Michael Avon Oeming. All right, so that does it. Next week, issue 113. Adios.